Yeah. Esmond.
I'm here.
On the second story of the hunting lodge, Thedrian, with his armor removed, looking weary, tired, leaned back against the wall. You've seen a flash of blue around the edges of his irises, and then he assaults you. I know what you are.
Oh, yeah, I
Perfect.
Okay, I think we're good. um, okay. I mean, I wear a handful of titles. I suppose you could apply to me. Engineer, uh, low level wizard. Sorry, I'm not sure I understand, sir.
Thought I'd seen it once before. Just a hint of an aura left behind in the caves. And I wasn't sure. During the battle, this forest, before I arrived here, I know what I saw.
Um. Uh, okay. I'm sorry. You sound as though I should understand, but I don't, sir. Could could you elaborate? I I I don't know what you're referencing.
There's an aura of chronomantic magic that surrounds you.
What?
Brief. Just a moment, perhaps. Unmistakable.
I I mean, not to say that you're wrong, but you have to be mistaken. I don't know what that is. Um, chronomancy is not something that I was aware existed until you mentioned it to us the other night, sir. What what are you talking about?
He studies you for a moment. Um, roll. Let me see this. Is Esmond lying?
Esmond is not lying. He does not know what Thedrian is referencing right now.
He watches you for later. It says, would like to believe that you're not lying, that you truly don't know what's happening. Of the many things which I might be mistaken, this is not one of them. There is a chronomantic magic attached to you, fleeting, irregular. I saw it clearly in the forest.
Okay. Okay. Respectfully, sir, I do not know what you are talking about. I studied divination magic, so and I haven't been trained practically, as we didn't have a traditional wizard in the village, but I read books and I studied specifically divination style magic. The magic that I perform might be a bit more hardline and mechanical than how the books tend to do, but it's just kind of how it clicked for me in my mind. I cannot stress enough how much I do not know what you are talking about, sir.
Studies you a moment more, he says. It would not be the first time that such magic manifests in someone unknowingly. I have no reason to think that you're lying. You seem, for all that I can tell, to be convinced of what you say.
Convinced, sir, I'm telling you. You are trying to tell me, sir, that I am performing magic that I was not aware existed because, according to you, or at least according to what I can determine based on how you refer to it, it is so illegal that it is not even referenced in any manner whatsoever. What all references of it have been wiped from standard textbooks, apparently. You are trying to tell me that I am performing magic that, to my own knowledge, did not exist until you referenced it 2 nights ago. And now you're telling me that I am performing it in these battles. I do not. And at this point, Esmond actually just gets up and walks to a nearby window and just kind of is holding his mouth in his hand, just kind of staring out.
You rise and move to the window. You can see snow falling outside in the night. Starlight and light from the broken moon filtering in through the fog and the mist that surrounds the cabin. Adrian. The inflection of his voice hasn't changed through all of this. He seems weary, almost resigned. He says, the laws of my order would say that you must be destroyed for this husband. You, for a moment, become aware of the sword and the rifle that are lying on the bed adjacent to the one that Bethedrian's on, between the two of you.
Immediately tenses up. Slowly turns around, notes the weaponry on the table. Okay. Okay. Say, I'll go along with this for now. I can perform chronomantic magic, magic I've never heard of before. And by the laws of your order, as you just said, you have to eliminate me. So why haven't you yet, sir?
The ideals that the order of the verdicts uphold were instituted the creation of the kingdom. Now there have been many, and many times I've felt a great travesty in what my order sometimes does. It is these laws that through the centuries created the kingdom that has cared for so many. And yet, I cannot argue when I have experienced myself that in my time knowing all of you, that you yourself have in your way made the difference in the survival of those around you, and even myself. And yet I know that you must be destroyed for the safety of all. What am I to make of such a thing, husband?
Okay. You said yourself that you have witnessed the things that I've done in protecting myself, others, and you. Despite what you've been taught, you've not acted upon those things. You have instead chosen to approach me. This leads me to think that you're at a crossroads right now, and you are trying to determine whether the laws of the kingdom outweigh the potential strength and power I can provide to you in attempting to bring order back. I can tell you which way I would vote, though I feel like that's that should be fairly obvious. um, Sir, if we are running on the logic that I could perform chronomantic magic, then as far as I'm concerned, I have broken no laws, as it is not something that I was aware that I was doing. And I can work to hold those powers back and simultaneously support you and everyone else in trying to bring order and peace back to Mirwood.
Husband, you misunderstand. There is no argument, there is no conflict in the balancing of your value against the threat that you represent. The magics of necromancy, of chronomancy, always if they used with the intention of doing something to better. And inevitably, they follow a single road toward destruction. And those ideals are fundamental to that which on the kingdom has been built. It is fundamental to the life that you lived, the society in which you were born. There's no argument that there's a balance between what you can contribute and your brilliance and the threat that you are. And yet, I would not be here now to fulfill my ideals were it not for you. And the truth is, all of you have become strong in just the short time that I've known you. And my years are waning, Esmond. I'm not entirely sure, and even if I wanted to, I could destroy you.
So then what are we doing, sir? Because I came in here to make sure that you're okay, and now you are saying that I have to be eliminated. My intention is to walk out of this room and continue to support you and my friends and make sure that everyone is safe. What do you plan on doing?
I think it's very likely that I'm no longer able to see what must be done to its end. And yet, with what I know, as unkind as it is to burden you with knowing someone who has sought to do so much good, there's something that you must understand, Esmond. The this magic in all your hopes to make the world better, to save your friends, you will bring the destruction of everyone you care about. And there's nothing I can do about it.
That's fine. All of them will keep me in order. Always. Did you have anything else that you needed, sir? I need to go to bed. Or get ready for my next watch.
It's changing, husband. It has already changed. Everything that we have known may never return in the way that we've known it. Be careful.
Then we adapt and survive. It's the only thing that we can do. And Esmond will walk to the door and head out, unless Adrian stops him.
He doesn't.
Yeah, so Esmond will just return to wherever he was prior when resummoning Zephyrus, and just find a corner to sit in, probably.
Or too long. Some hours later, perhaps. First hints of a new day begin to filter in through the windows and the trees. And you've all completed a long rest. Esmond will say wakes up a little bit late, I would suspect. And Esmond eventually emerges from the room in which he was sleeping. What does he see? As he looks down over the railings, the balconies down into the main section of the lodge.
Araya has curled up closest to the fireplace, the tiniest ball of just robes and maybe some horns peeking out. Totally asleep.
Esmond will slowly approach the blanket pile and touch around for a shoulder. Just kind of based on where the horns are coming out from, just kind of calculate where the shoulder might be and just kind of shift that a little bit.
Zombie!
No, you're okay.
I think hearing this, Peach darts around to the edge and she's got a pot of Hakeem in hand, and she hands a cup to Ez. And she goes, yeah, we're gonna let Araya rest, and we're gonna not do any sudden movements to anybody because we're all a little on edge and terrified. Araya, you still want a nap, or do you want some Hakeem too, honey?
Oh, I brought my own tea. Did you sleep okay? It's nice being inside. I didn't realize how much I appreciated a warm fire that wasn't surrounded by snow.
Yeah, I slept fine. I guess. Thanks. Thank you, Peach, for the Hakeem.
Is he flitting?
As you say that, in fact, Zephyrus is going to zip around and is going to kind of zip around you, and he's waiting for an invitation to land on you.
Happily, like Disney princess hand.
And then Esmond is going to make his way to the kitchen, just a place to sit and drink.
You got eaten by a big zombie, but you're okay now. So happy.
It licks her eyeball.
Zeph, that's what got you into this trouble in the first place. Don't do that. It was cute and it was fine at first, but now it's like actually gonna cause you problems. Little guy, when they're that big, don't get close to their mouth. Zeph.
Snuggles Zephyrus and then makes her way to the kitchen.
I have herbal tea. It doesn't have any of the, the pep that Hakeem does, but it is good for your health and digestion.
It smells bad, but kind of like maple syrup, so half bad.
At some point, you guys see Ava, and she says, the verdict is, he's feeling a little too weak to get out of bed. I think I need to run some more tests, so I'll be upstairs.
Do you need any help? I thought
No.
he'd be okay.
Hopefully so. Yeah, I'm just not really sure yet, so I'll be back later. And she goes upstairs.
Do you think we should go to the town and today?
The longer we wait, the
worse
less
it-
likely we are to be able to help them.
Yeah. No, that's true.
It might be worth running a scouting mission to see if we can make our way to the tunnel, if nothing else.
Really good at stealthing. Not really scouting. I don't know what to look for, but I am good at getting there without being seen. Oh, Sal, I made you more tea.
Oh, yeah, thanks. You know how Hakeem mess with my belly.
It does?
Always has. I was thinking, as you were cooking this morning, Peach getting things starting to sizzle.
Yeah?
You know how we call pigs pork or cows beef when we're going to eat them? You think zombies call us something different? Undead?
Sal, is this what you fall asleep thinking about?
No, I think it's interesting. I think that you got to have some level of intelligence to have that kind of abstraction, right? Because I highly doubt we see wolves out in the wild determining that this chicken is, or, heck, we don't even rename chicken. This argument's falling apart.
Sometimes it's called poultry. It doesn't really matter. I just when they were telling us that some of them were smart, could still cast spells, still might retain bits of themselves,
The door slams open with a breeze, cold breeze, gusts in, shifts around some papers and whatnot. Casey's in the doorway, breathing heavily. Zombies, 3 large lumberjacks, but they did not stand a chance against us.
Sal puts the
Help
spear
us.
back down behind his back that he had pointed at you as soon as you opened the door.
He moves around the room, patting each person on the shoulder. You all were made. Each
less Hakim for
Casey.
him.
I do appreciate a dramatic entrance. He says he sits down.
But what a battle! Oh my god! I mean, you guys were there. You saw it, and he flops down in one of the chairs.
Yeah, I saw a lot of things on that battlefield.
Yeah, it was. Did you see how big Beth got?
Mm-hmm.
She was bigger than the lumberjack because of her horns.
And faster.
She's always been fast.
I wonder if she could have jumped higher. They sure could jump, couldn't they? Whole ground shook when they went leaping through the air at us.
Talk about jumping, though, between them and Poppy. You all.
And Ez, you two, just keep right in their faces.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't get right up next to zombies.
What's wrong?
Can
Happening?
I? Esmond, I was thinking, because you're at the front so much, and you're not exactly the same build as Salinger or as Kabeth when she goes into her large form. Did you? Usually, I kind of give Salinger a little bit of encouragement, but would you like that before we face these sort of things? I'm happy to give you a little bit of boost so that you don't, so that in case you get hit. Esmond,
No.
are you alright?
Yeah, no, I'm fine. Sorry. No, I'm not supposed to be in the front. Anyways, I just keep getting caught by someone bigger than me. No, that's fine. You shouldn't prioritize me.
Well,
Yeah, Ez can take care of himself. And
no, but I can help protect you a little bit better maybe next time.
yeah, we saw that, Araya. You can protect all of us with this fire you were shooting around.
No, I mean, like actually protect. Like.
Yeah, no, I saw the blast.
I mean, a good offense is a really good defense, but I can help better.
I like this side of the maiden. Casey,
Well,
every great battle deserves a name. We need a name.
Sal's great triumph.
It can't just be about me.
And we
But-
gotta
but it
script
can't.
it up and do it as a shadow play when we get back to Ship's End. Bring
We're
out
just
all the old
brainstorming.
equipment, Casey.
We don't have to decide right now.
No, those guys are huge.
Titans even.
I-
Gigantic.
Yes, I like that.
While the others are
And
kind of
they
talking.
were sunk as soon as the fight started. The sinking of the Titanics.
So while the others are kind of continuing to talk, Peach comes around Ez, and she's bringing a plate of whatever they're eating, porridge with some sort of jerked meat on the side. And she just kind of very quietly says, "Are you doing all right? You said you slept, but Are you all right, Ez?"
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm okay. Promise.
Well, we need your thoughts on good approaches into town and how we might infiltrate without attracting all the zombies, because I think more than 3 is too much.
About that time, you hear the creaking of a door from one of the small downstairs rooms of the lodge. You see Jorn, the half-orc, junior parcel officer, and Bog, also in the parcel officer's uniform. And they kind of peek out through the door, look at each of you, and they kind of step out, kind of timidly.
Good morning. Do you want some tea? The Hakim smells 10 times more delicious, though. This smells like medicine.
And the little goblin Bog, you see his eyes get big. He goes running over, climbs up on yeah, I'll have tea.
Oh, I have this cup and Sal's cup, and you can use my cup.
And Jorn kind of walks over a little later, and he glances around and he says, Well, good morning, all of you. And how's you feeling after your fight?
He the verdict needs time to recharge, a bit more time. The toll on his body was much more intense. He's having a much more difficult time adjusting to the prosthetics than initially anticipated.
What did you examine his arm, and maybe there's some adjustment you can make that it might be easier on him?
No, there's nothing else I can do to help him right now. No, not here, at least. Not with the limited supplies that we have.
Then do we go on without him? Scouting, like you said, and then we can come back, and then he can help us with the main to town.
It's not a bad idea, actually.
Jordan says, he kind of glances up that second level, looks back to you guys. What is it? Is that a real verdict? I heard one was coming to Merewood, but...
It's most of one.
It's where he said he was heading when we first met him.
That is insensitive.
Sometimes it's best just to disregard a few of Casey's offhanded comments, he says, whispering over to Araya so that Casey can't hear.
But...
He was initially headed to Merewood, but from what we've been able to gather, due to immediately changing circumstances at the time, he couldn't make it to Merewood and continued on to Shepherd's Inn before the train crashed or was knocked off its tracks, leading to how he wound up with us for as long as he has.
Yeah, Jordan says, yeah, Castrid and Rumley, they said the verdict's the army that would show up to save us, that they would make a way to town to help us. Do you think there's going to be more coming?
Oh, with the train derailed as it was and the destruction of the tracks and us being so close to it, we haven't seen any others pass by, so I wouldn't count on it, at least in the past several months.
And he kind of deflates a little bit, and then he sits in one of the chairs and starts picking at some food that maybe there.
Hey, buck up, though. It's our chance to shine. Pick things up, give our friends. We'll be fine. Gives him a little pat.
We've already saved one town.
More than half of it.
Mirkwood's next.
I think you're mighty bit boastful of our accomplishments there, though.
Oh no, I fully agree with Casey. I think eventually our reputation will precede us. We need to come up with a name.
You think so?
Oh, certainly. These stories are thrilling.
One more lean into Araya since he's sitting there sharing tea. It's a harmless white lie to boast of their confidence. Look at him. He's down in the dumps. He's about falling into his porridge. Let Peach and Casey just go at it. It'll be fine. They'll cheer him right up.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I mean, Peach addressed the kid. Let us tell you about some of the things that we faced in our hometown before we even came out here. Right? We're talking about this creature you got center of town. We already dealt with something like that. We're talking a chicken larger than an inn. You know, so large that it had created itself into some kind of gelatinous ooze, right? And it was spewing blue fire. And at some point, Casey, did not it grow into a dragon when it hit the hearth, right?
Yeah, spewing fire and acid all over the center of town.
Dissolving entire cart worth of people. And
Slurps audibly at the tea while he stares wide-eyed as you guys tell him the story.
And it wasn't just this chicken dragon, this thing that we never seen before. And we were able to take it out with just sheer cleverness. We were children then. I mean, you think that we're young and attractive now? Of course we are. We were no older than you when we were taking out these dragons in our hometown. And that's just one of many. Casey, take it away.
Tell me, young Bog, have you ever been invisible before? The light passes straight through you. No one can see you at all.
Really? Never done that. I mean, I played hide and seek, but
I mean, have you ever tried?
You have already done more than hide and seek. You have survived. You've hidden for your life. This is high stakes hide and seek.
Sounds pretty close to invisible to me.
Oh my God, one step away from it, I swear.
kind of grins a little bit, slurps the tea. Jordan says, so, what are we gonna... I guess what's the plan? What do you want? What are we gonna do? We can hold up here, but...
Well, we're brainstorming it right now, honey. You're a part of the team. What do you want to do next?
Oh, jeez. And, that's a big question.
Can either of you perform any magical feats or are especially strong or especially stealthy?
Well, I don't think we got any magics, but I mean, we're pretty good staying hidden.
Can you show us later?
And if
Or
you've
now?
delivered...
Well, if I show you, I won't be doing any good at it.
That's true.
Darn it, you're right.
And if you deliver packages, then you know the town inside and out.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
information is-
we've been all over.
Yeah, we need you to tell us all about it. Every
Yeah, for sure.
secret alleyway, underground, anything that will help us move about town.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
At this prompting, Esmond's actually going to pull out a scrap of paper and a quill and slide it over to Jorn and just let him write down notes or draw a map if he can.
yeah, kind of started scribbling while he's talking. He says, yes, most of the forces happen over here by the town square. You see, here's where this train station is. That's where all they come through. You know, you can't miss that. It's, if you ain't been to Mirrorwood before, it's, you see all the cranes. They're powered by the water wheels. And over here, we see where the buildings get all dense. Well, yeah, there's a lot tight alleyways and little nooks and crannies there, and there's a good place to... That's where we usually come and go, kind of through there. And that can take you right here. This is where everyone's hiding in the storehouse. Yeah. And then, if you go in this way, that's where the old smithy was. If you want to avoid that, there was something big over there shaking the ground. And then you go all the way across. We tried to find a way to get them get some of them potions from the alchemist, but yeah, we never made it quite that far.
How many givers did you have in Mirkwood?
Well, I mean, before everything went crazy, it was almost two dozen. Like I said, it's it was the fabricator, yeah. We're by the town square. He was doing stuff to him. Making him bigger. Some kind of magic.
You said there was a tunnel that was dug underneath the town that could lead to a building that had a number of your own group still hiding away there. What would be the best way to get to the entrance of that tunnel?
Yeah, well, we dug tunnels between where we was hiding in the basement of the tavern, and then like the storehouse, we get supplies. We were trying to dig more tunnels, but I mean, it'll take a long time. If you come in from the eastern part of town, you can make it to the tavern. It wasn't. I mean, if you're quiet, like. I'd go through these streets here. You gotta march them down.
Then, trying to gather himself, Esmond's going to turn and whisper to Bog and speak to him in Goblin. How about yourself? Did you have any family or people that you were looking after that you want us to try and find and check on?
Yeah, Bog kind of perks up as you speak Goblin to him. He says, hey, well, John's folks, they went up north, with the army, months ago. And Jordan was staying with us, but I haven't seen my folks since,
If Jorn is done drawing or making notes on the sheet of parchment, Esmond will slide it over and instruct Bog to put his own instructions on where he last saw his family.
Yeah, he takes a bit of charcoal and starts scribbling on there. He says, yeah, our place is over here. It's real packed in that. The buildings are real small and close together. I made it back there. But nobody was home.
We'll keep an eye out. I'll bring back some kind of news for you if I can when we return.
Yeah.
Esmond will take the parchment and study it a little bit and just kind of slide it to the middle of the table. Okay, so if we're talking about trying to scout the town, we have a number of entrances, some more dangerous than others, obviously. And the eastern entrance is closest to where Jorn and Bog's group are, so we could potentially meet up with other people who would be able to give us a more up-to-date lay of the land, so to speak. Otherwise, there are a couple other places that we could attempt to head up while we're there, but I think it might just be best to see if we can determine the easiest way into town and see if we can find somebody to give us some kind of rundown as to the current situation. Then from there, we kind of determine if we help Muirwood more immediately or if we need to make our way towards the village in the north outside of Muirwood.
That all makes sense to me.
And Jorn says, oh, what's the, why are you going to the villages?
The verdict had mentioned that there was potential sightings of a necromancer there, and it may or may not have to do with this zombie scourge infecting Mirwood at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I heard about it. I heard about the letter going out, but what? It seems dangerous, doesn't it?
Yes, it does, which is why we'll be going and leaving some of our group here, but we're only intending to complete a scouting mission. We're not going to be leaving just the 5 of us on our own necessarily.
I mean, you could come with us. Casey is leaning back in his chair with his feet on the table.
I think their abilities would be better served here at the cabin, serving as watch to make sure that nobody else here gets hurt.
Casey pauses for a moment. You mentioned the fabricator. Did you say the fabricator was making the givers bigger? Is that what you said?
It was doing something to the dead, cutting them up, and
When? Was this before everything was happening?
no, yeah, after all of it, once the dead showed up, they will, that wander around like there's nothing left inside upstairs, yeah? But the fabricator, there's something about him, he's different. Like smarter. I thought he might have just been sick, maybe we could save him, but a group of us tried to get close right in the beginning. Man, that didn't go good.
Yeah, Ez is right. You could be of use here. But the decision is ultimately yours.
If you're gonna help people, I guess I'd go with you, but I mean, Bog should stay here. He's too young.
Too young for what?
Casey, he's too young.
I
There
mean,
are people. It's just worth protecting someone sometimes.
The best way we can protect them is for them to be able to protect themselves.
And just for context, I don't remember if I mentioned it. Jordan's about a year younger than you, but Bog's about 3 years younger than you.
Yeah.
That may be, but that would require a little bit of training. We don't have time for at least a boy that age. Not that we're that much older, but you know what I mean. Let the little one stay. Let Bog come with us.
It's more than enough help. And yeah, we gotta look out for each other.
Yeah. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just...
You just want everyone to be their best selves at all times without trying.
That's such a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. It's just high expectations to put on our new friends.
Right as that exchange is happening, Sal's going to look at the half-orc. Is the half-orc Bog? Is that correct?
No, the half-orc is Jorn. Bog is the goblin.
Jorn. Okay. Looks at Jorn, pulls a dagger out of his boot and says, You ever held a weapon before?
Well, I mean, not allowed to. The sheriff does.
You know where the sheriff is now?
Yeah, sheriff's not doing so good.
Yeah, so this is yours now. You hold on to it. Something gets close to you. Right there. Huh? We'll watch out for you as much as we can, but you're not going in there with us defenseless.
Takes the knife carefully and kind of turns it over a little bit and says, "Right."
And if you lose it and need another one, and he reaches behind his ear, pulls out another knife.
Whoa!
None of us. None of the rest of us can do this one.
Not yet. I'm just saying, if you need a knife, you just
Yeah,
gotta
it's-
pull.
Just believe in the knife and it'll be there.
That's fancy.
Well, I'm gonna get my coat, my hat, my scarves, my gloves. It's still freezing out there. So I was gonna leave the room for a little bit.
Yeah, we all need to prep accordingly. We're going to be gone for, at minimum, more than a day. It's going to take us a while to get to town from this cabin, so everyone just make sure to prep and make sure you have all your belongings before we head out.
And be ready to sleep in the cold with zombies.
Casey leans back in the chair, puts his feet back up on the table, and just kind of just starts tossing a roll into the air and catching it as everyone goes to get stuff together.
Leans over to Bog and says, "Hey, buddy. Looks like these guys need a little bit of help going out about town. So we might be able to help some people. So I'm gonna go with them. But you gotta stay here. Make sure none of them undead come and get a cabin here, huh?" And Bog kind of sips the tea and looks a little uncertain. Nods a little bit. Expect to have this tea. So as you guys are preparing in order to head out from the hunting lodge, any special or different preparations that you're making?
Not anything especially different, but once I feel like we're getting close to... I'm gonna wear my mage armor once we're out in the wilderness.
No special prep for Esmond, but before we leave, he would swing by Jorn and Bog and ask either of them if they had seen any, and he would, draw up a very basic diagram as well. But if either of them had seen any tears in the fabric of reality.
So yeah, Jordan's kind of got the knife you guys give him, and he's kind of stabbing one of like the just like a vertical pillar kind of wood, like a support beam kind of thing with it. And he kind of pauses. You go, what?
Have you seen anything that looks like a hole in space sitting above the ground that should not be there, that appears to lead to somewhere else that is not connected to your to Mirwood, to this place?
Just kind of stares at you. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure I understand what.
You don't. It's fine. You don't have to rock your brain on this one necessarily. Esmond will hold up like the parchment with like a very basic diagram of it. Something somewhere like this. It can range from like, a couple inches tall to upwards of 30 to 50 feet tall, and just as wide, if not more.
I mean, something like that. I'd remember that.
It's what? Just asking. It's just. Don't concern yourself with it. If you happen to see something like that, just mention it to me. That's all.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for it.
Oh, and obviously we're instructing everyone else on what we're doing, but Esmond is making a wide berth and avoiding Vithedrian's room as much as possible.
Checks out.
Araya might have brought up like the breakfast to both Ava and Vithedrian, but no actual interaction is necessary.
So I, out of character, had this concern, and I think Osal would too. So just a question: how's Poppy been dealing with the cold?
Turkeys do
Yeah.
fine in the winter.
Not quite cold enough yet. Maybe that you guys are getting any like status effects or anything like that. But yeah, Poppy seems to seek out warmth as often as possible. Maybe seems a little more sluggish, but yeah, nothing that's statistically affecting it.
Okay. So out of concern, I have made her a scarf, but that's it so far.
So literally writing lizard scarf into the gift chat.
You should make one for Shalati too. You know, she gets really cold.
I think Casey's got that handled.
What?
She like a little bit blushes and is like,
You should have. It was really cute last fight, don't you think?
like super under her breath. If that was too quiet, let me know.
She's saying it to Peach.
Peach.
Yeah. The
Casey
way
doesn't
they
get
were
it.
like dance fighting. I could feel the heat coming off, and it wasn't just Casey's fireballs.
I want to ask Shalati about it, but I don't want to ask
Oh, Shalati knows
about
that
it.
Casey's interested, all right?
But she's very not. So do we
Yeah.
need to step in? Like maybe, no, Casey.
Shalati can handle herself. She
I know.
says she sets her boundaries, and what she and Casey have is between them. And I'm gonna make big romance eyes at them because I think they're cute together, and I think they're good for each other. But ultimately, Casey's never gonna push past that boundary that Shalati set. He cares about her too much for that.
You're right.
He'll
You're right. Just grand gestures every day.
Oh, he'll flirt and he'll comment and he'll make dance moves, but if she asks for her space, he gives it to her. He respects her so deeply. And that's why they're absolutely meant to be. 100%. They're so cute together, and eventually they'll realize it too.
Peach, do you believe in like soulmates?
I don't believe in soulmates for anybody, but I love the idea of falling in love, right? Like a storybook. Why? Do you believe in soulmates?
It's
Is
an
there a
awfully deep question, don't you think? The way our souls are reformed each time we're born? That maybe there are pieces of our souls in another person and we can see that kinship in them, but
Yeah, do you see
I
that
don't know.
kinship with anybody? Anybody from Ship's End? Anybody who, I don't know, shares some significant traits with you that you might feel?
You know. No, it's
I know, and like I said about Casey and Shalani, nobody would ever cross those boundaries
of
because,
course not.
yeah. But a girl can.
Well, but then you obviously, if you're thinking about somebody, you may think about yourself. Right?
I mean,
Or
that's.
you just haven't seen enough of what the world has to offer as far as souls.
I'm not going by anybody's soul, but, I hardly think I'm the judge for something like that. But I think you can have chemistry with somebody. I think you can really care about somebody. I think you can grow up next door to somebody and, you know, grow into that soulmate so that you fit well together, balance each other out, look out for each other.
Well, we all look out for each other, though. I think that
Well, yeah, we're
all
all,
of us together, yeah.
exactly. I'm just saying that, I
You
like,
know I would
I
do
like to,
anything for you, Peach. It's
of, of course, Ryan, I would too. I'm just saying that, if I rounded the corner one of these days and Shalani and Casey were, switching it up properly like they used to, I wouldn't do anything except scamper away, very pleased. I want them to be happy, and I hope that's with each other.
his happiness seems in short supply. I really hope we can find these kids as friends. Just, thinking about what might be good.
I think so too. I hope we put on a good enough show for them, you know? That they think we're real heroes, or at least that they can trust us to try to do this.
We will try. I just think that there's no one left to accept us to try, right?
Yeah, that's why we got to do it. We are the best around. We're the only around.
So humble. Well, the only around, yes, I guess.
Right, it's all about rephrasing it. We're not the only ones in the area who can possibly do this. We're the best monster fighting crew that Shep's End has ever produced. And we're going to be legendary very quickly.
Seems like an awful lot of. Yeah, no, I believe in us. I think that we can do it. Yes.
I swear, I'm going to have to talk you through this like I had to do with that kid. We've been through so much already, and we've done amazing. We are amazing. It's not to say that our, zombies are getting larger and more terrible
The
and more
12
deadly, but also look at
potential.
us. We're hardly the kids we were when the jellies attacked our town that first time.
I don't feel different.
Well, you are. I've seen you do incredible things that I know you couldn't do back at the temple.
Well, it wasn't needed. The temple needed scrubbing. It didn't need fire.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I'm not trying to theologize to you.
Well, no, you gotta save that for me. Honest. Although, I don't too much. Do I? I do. I don't. I do. I won't. I'm sorry.
Oh, you theologize. You don't evangelize. You're not trying to convert us all, but
Excellent.
damn if you don't talk about the maiden constantly.
Well, she's a very important part of my life.
I know. Ain't nothing wrong with it. What does the maiden say about... I always kind of wondered, right? At the temple, there's you and your sisters. Are there any boy sisters?
No.
Why not?
It's just how the maiden. It's just that temple and the edicts of the maiden is that it's a sisterhood and oftentimes a refuge for women who want to seek something that's a bit more of peace. in
Oh,
a
that's
way.
wonderful, but
It is.
don't sisters sometimes settle down and find a partner? And, you know, that's how you get, like, brothers-in-law and sisters-in-law or folks-in-law.
No, most people who devote themselves to the temple have sort of decided against that particular avenue in life, and though I can't really speak for everybody, as maybe some have left the temple and chose something else, and they'd be permitted to, of course. It's just what the maiden requires of us is specific sacrifices.
And is that how you get the power that you have from her? Because you make these sacrifices? Because I'm still
No.
trying to figure where all this comes from.
No, it's just a matter of the strength of my faith makes these things something I do willingly to show my devotion. It's not necessarily where my strength necessarily comes from. It's just that I choose to do this because I want to serve the maiden in the way that she set for us, and I really wanted to be the most devout that I could be, just to prove that I could be that I could be, that I could give everything.
Well, Araya, I don't want to make light of serious things, but I do and I will. You're the only maiden devotee around, honey. You're the best one left.
It's not saying a whole lot when they hadn't let me really pass the priestess ritual yet, and so
You are
my-
the most devoted acolyte
that
in
sounds
this
like a
entire region.
technicality.
It's still true. Make it truer.
I do my best.
You do amazing.
Thank you. It's just that they've got 12 givers in town, and the givers are undead. The givers give. She sort of swallows visibly.
All right. Let's go back to talk about who's cute, and then we can fade out.
Everyone's really cute, especially Poppy.
Simultaneously, very brief outside of earshot of this. Another drop stitch. So there's got to be a way to do this with magic. Like, you use these hooks to make the scarf. No, there's got to be a way to do it with magic. How do you do it with magic?
The magic, Casey, is patience.
But if you had magic, you wouldn't need patience. You could... Fine.
One more hook. Down and around. Quit getting all antsy. It's making your hands shake. That's why you keep missing stitches.
Yeah, he hunkers down and you can hear the hooks clacking together.
So before you guys head out from the lodge back into the snowy wilderness.
Peach did manage to get Araya to rank people based on muscliness.
Is there supplies at the cabin? Like snowshoes or something along those lines?
Yeah, there are a few basic things. What are you looking for?
I don't know. A jacket, I guess.
There are definitely some furs that have been Yeah, I'm in pretty good shape. Could make a big furry cloak.
Yeah. In case you'll don some furs.
Alright. Before too long, you guys have made your way out from the hunting lodge to begin your scouting mission. Snow is crunching underfoot, bright sunlight filtering through the fog canopy of trees. You begin to travel westward toward Muirwood. That's where you guys are going, right? You move with care, knowing that there could be danger around the next tree, over the next bend. Always keep an eye out for the lumbering shapes of the undead that wander this wood. You occasionally see a colorful bird flying by. There's some chirping. It's cold, but there's a bright, warm sunlight coming through the trees. You travel for a day. Rest for the night. And on the second day, you find yourself climbing a slope that outcropping of rock. It's snow covered, but you're able to find your footing. When you get to the top, Jorn kind of gestures you over. Yeah, this is the place. You can get a good look from here. And you find yourself on outcropping on a high hill that overlooks the city of Muirwood. The wind has parted the fog enough. You see a sprawling town with a wide river that cuts right through the middle of it and then forks off towards the north and the south. The town is higher on the western side than the eastern side. You can see that many water wheels that are powered by the river are still turning the pulley systems and the gears. The clockwork structures in the town. You can see 3 large, tall cranes near the train station that would be used to load and unload cargo from the trains themselves. And even from here, you can see some devastation in the town, mostly on the western side and cutting in through the center towards the town square. Where the beast, when it attacked the town, it kind of laid a path of destruction. You only get a glimpse for a bit before the fog begins to roll back in again. But in that time, Jordan's able to point out, yeah, that's the tavern. That's where we're hiding. The storehouse. It's not too far. We dug underground to get to it. That cluster of buildings there, kind of on the north side, yeah, that's the best place to kind of sneak around. It's so tight in so many alleyways. You can get away from the things when they're shambling around. But you don't want to get trapped in there because it's such tight quarters. Get that way. That's over by the smithy. We tried to get there to see if there were, something we could use. But there's something big over there. So we stayed away. Then if you curve over more to the west and into the south a little bit, there that's the old apothecary. Or maybe there would be medicines. We could get some of them, the red potions. But, never made it all the way. And that right there is town square. And that's where it's most dangerous. You gotta be careful. You don't go over that way.
And where did you see the fabricator? See in the town square?
Over near the town square, that's where the mayor's house was. That's where the train station is. All the old markets.
your group that was at the tavern, was anyone ever out there, not necessarily scouting throughout the town, but keeping an eye on things?
Well, we catch a glimpse sometimes if we have to go out and try to get supplies. Sometimes me and Bog would sneak out, trying to find stuff or trying to find anyone else who might still be around. Well, I mean, we mostly kept hidden, until Cartridge and Rothbeer, they wanted to leave. Yeah, the Axe thought it would be a good idea, so we headed out and tried to get to Shepherd's Inn.
Okay, so how do we best want to go about this? Do we want to try and meet with Jorn's group at the tavern, or do we want to try and see if we can get a lay of the land through another entrance?
I mean, if there's people in there, we should go in and get them out, yeah?
If we can, the way that Jorn described it, sounds like none of them were planning on leaving and waiting for a verdict to come and save the town, but maybe if we say that we have one, we can convince them to leave with us. I don't know.
At the very least, time's passed. So they're going to be in more desperate situation than they were before. Their rations will have run low. Whatever supplies they've got will have been dwindling. They might be much more willing to go with somebody who is not representing any verdict at all than they were before. If we seem like a safer party to travel with, they might just be willing to go with us.
Yeah. Jordan says, Castrid and Rumley, I mean, they were convinced someone was going to come save us, but, none of us had been outside looking around and knew what was going on. If you talk to them and tell them, what's the situation is, what's happened in your town, or maybe they'll give up trying to just hide until someone comes to help.
During this time, Esmond would have sent off Zephyrus to go and scout, not in the town, but just like kind of a layout of the town square and report back if there are any moving bodies in that area.
Araya has sadly relinquished Zephyrus back to Esmond. Me. She was carrying him while you were walking.
Okay, yeah, Zephyrus goes fluttering off.
Okay, so I guess we'll head to the tavern. Jorn, what's the you said the eastern entrance is the safest route in?
I think so. Yeah, if we come in from the eastern side of town, move real quiet. Like it's just it's just a couple of blocks.
Good plan.
Do any of us here have any means of silencing ourselves before we try sneaking into this town?
I'm very silent by default.
You can turn yourself invisible, which is...
No, but I am. I have these really amazing boots on.
Okay, great. So
that's why I always scare the shnikes out of you.
Fair. So you're settled then.
I can also make somebody else invisible if we need to, possibly too. Does it help?
Any benefits that we can provide ourselves to better sneak into this town, I think we should consider all of them. So as we can avoid these undead things as best as we can. I will say, I've never been the quietest. Everyone should know this. I tend to wear a bunch of things that clank very loudly against themselves. So there's that.
Do you really need all of the gadgets that you brought with you?
I mean,
Yes.
can you maybe put some of it in that bag, though?
It's
Some
true.
of the clunkier things?
I can't guarantee it's going to make me any quieter, though.
He's just used to working in the Tinker's workshop, and it is pretty noisy in there, but
Some folks are just clanky.
it's okay, as you're really good at a lot of other things. Being sneaky on top of it all. But let's just hope all the zombies are stupid.
Okay, well,
I'm making you invisible, though. You're my top invisible choice.
let's hold on to that until things get real dire, and if we need to, then we'll resort to it. But let's just.
No, I mean, like, we'll just poof, like, pretend like it's a magic show. And then run away.
If we need to, that does leave everyone else here.
In the dust. Yeah, okay, we're thinking it.
Let's just, all right, if we don't have any additional means, let's all just let's head to the entrance and let's see what things are looking like, and we'll go from there as we need to.
Do you think they need to see us to attack us? Because I could just make it really dark all of a sudden.
I mean, you technically don't need to see anything to attack anything. It just helps. Just because you can't see anything doesn't prevent you from attacking it or biting it. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it helps, but
I'm the hell out of help then.
No, you'll be helpful when we need it. But it's just entrance first. Let's see if we can get to the tavern, and we'll figure it out from there.
No problem.
Sounds great. And leave me on the bottom of your invisible list there, Rhea. I can skip a beat for a few seconds if I need to not be seen.
How about you, Peach?
I can't go invisible, but I can also do a hop skip like I did over the that busted bridge.
Casey, you normally like to draw attention to yourself, but in this case, no shade.
What, you don't think I can sneak in there?
No, I just was asking, can you sneak in there? Do you want to sneak in there? Will you willingly sneak in there?
Well, yeah, that's the plan, right?
Okay.
Well, I'll stick to the plan.
Okay, then I'll help the kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Decided. As with the kid, I'll help them if things go dicey.
And you guys have finished those conversations. You've wound your way down from the higher hillside into the lower lying valley. The fog is thicker here, and it almost seems to allow less of the bright sunlight down to the approach to Muirwood. There's a thick fog around you. The ground is sloshy with snow. At first, you're just making your way through some small shacks and barns, houses at the edge of town. But before too long, you start to see the denser layout of buildings. The architecture in Muirwood is different from that of Shepherd's End. It's narrow, taller wooden buildings, not the homes built into the hillside with green grass on the top, but slanted roofs, often with tiles and snow-filled gutters. Yeah, you begin to move quietly as you can, following Jorn toward the tavern. We have, if you would, everybody roll stealth.
Hey, gang, I forgot that I brought my robot with me, so I have to roll stealth for that, too.
No,
No.
Clank, clank,
the
clank.
clanky boy.
You would call this an urban environment we're in now, yeah?
Yeah, you guys are getting into urban space now. Now, one second, let me go turn some noise down in the background.
The robot is with
I need
us.
to use the restroom.
What?
Robot goes wherever Esmond goes.
Some folks are just clanky.
We're gonna need that natural 20. That's good.
Not me though. Apparently, I'm invisible. Hey, clanky boy.
All right, now it's up to the robot.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna use the restroom.
Oh no. I'm spending a thread for Poppy while you're gone there. Much better.
Balls. I'm gonna spend a spark to reroll for Typhon Stealth.
Yikes! You guys kind of burned through them last session.
I used
How many
one.
are you down to?
I'm doing decent. I got sparks for days.
How many days? 2? 3?
Depends on the combat session.
Today's the one that matters. Don't worry about those other days. I really did. Yeah. I don't know why Chris's pause after Sloshy got me, but I was like, and you're walking through the entrails of the dead is like immediately what my brain did. Too scary.
Chris, both Sean and I used destiny points to reroll stealth. Sean rerolled for Poppy, and I rerolled for Typhon.
Yeah, Poppy had rolled a natural 1. We didn't need that in our lives. Or in our
See, so it
deaths,
looks
I
like-
guess.
The clankiest dinosaur.
What's the lowest stealth that you guys got on your approach?
It might be me with an 11, now that I'm looking.
But we did have a natural 20 in there. That's gotta count for something.
God bless you, Peach.
Yeah, so you guys begin to creep your way through the streets, fearing to go into an alleyway. On a bend, you come to an intersection. Glancing both ways, there's fog across cobbled stones. You wait for no dart across to the far side. As you're moving across, Salandry, you catch a shape in the fog off to your right. You hear a bit of scraping, lumbering sound of something walking towards you. As you dash across the way into the alleyway, you hear shuffling as it moves by. Didn't notice you. You move through the narrow corridors, and then you, glancing out from an alleyway across the street, you see the facade of the tavern that Jordan points, I guess. That's the one in the basement. There's stairs in the back. That's where everyone was.
Well, let's go get him.
I've got Zephyrus, flying through the alleys 30 feet above, keeping an eye out, notifying me of anything as well.
You cross. Jordan gestures over one of the side doors to the tavern. You cross, move inside. feeling of sloshy snow and cobblestones under your feet becomes the wood of the tavern floor. Quick glance around shows that everything of value has been cleared out here from the tavern. Bottles missing from the wall behind the bar. None of the plates carry any food, but you see like a flight of stairs that goes up one part of the room, then like almost a trap door in the rear part. Jorna kind of ducks down, so he's peeking over a table, moves forward a bit. I'll tell him it's me, and then hold on, just hold on one moment. He creeps forward. Yeah. A little bit of knocking. Hey, it's me. It's John. I brought some others. Found some people. Okay, I mean, are you down there? It's quiet for a moment. He glances back at you guys, and certainly see him reach down, and he tries to pull on the door.
I'm gonna quietly dash over. I'm gonna grasp his shoulder and just pull him back slightly. Just hold on. Don't just open it just yet. Okay? Give me a moment.
All right.
How's this door locked on the other side? Is it a handlebar? Is it just a standard standard lock?
We just put a bar through it so it couldn't pull open. But
okay, step away for a moment, and
so.
Can Esmond put his ear to the door and see if he can hear anybody on the other side, like any shuffling or people murmuring about?
Roll perception check.
Bad roll, 14.
Yeah, it's pretty thick wood, and you can't really hear anything.
Am I able to see that the bar has been set to? Can I see through the crack of the door to see that a bar has been set to keep the door locked?
No, it's fit pretty flushly. You're not able to see through it.
Anyone have any way of quietly opening a door that is locked on the other side?
I can't do it myself, but can't you do that with your hand where you make like?
I generally need to see where the hand is going to be. Let me.
I could burn it open.
Let's hold that thought. It's not. It is an idea. Let's hold on to that one. Let's put a pin in that one.
Let's try the invisible hand aspect first.
Esmond will go back to the door, and firstly, I just realized I didn't try. Can I slowly open the door to see if it'll actually open?
Yeah, you pull on it. It's pretty heavy, and you feel resistance. It's enough to where, you realize it must be barred on the other side.
I can't cast Mage Hand on the opposing side of a door, can I? I feel like no.
No, for any spell you have to have line of sight on.
Ooh, wait, I might have something for this.
Don't set it on fire.
No, you guys.
Well, we can just put a flashing light underneath. And maybe if they're asleep, and that'll wake them up, or they'll know that something's up on this side. If we
Maybe we
still
don't.
think they're on the other side, yeah.
It might be good though if they don't know we're here. They might be the folks we're looking for, but who knows whether they're still alive properly. Maybe we want to not be flashlights, and maybe we want to be quiet.
Chris, I have thieves' tools. Is there anything in there that I could potentially use to like shim in and push the bar out of the latch?
I suppose it's possible, but it would not be a very easy roll.
Oh yeah, no problem.
Would I be able to assist him with that if that was something he was doing?
I'm not sure.
The maiden might feel conflicted, but I am happy to pray for you and your success.
What does this lock look like, Jordan?
Well, it's just a bar that we put across them on the underside, so you wouldn't be able to pull it open if the bar's there. It must mean they're still hiding down there.
Bar, got it. It's like he digs in his pouches a little bit and pulls out a little bit of metal, kind of bends it a little bit in a certain way and makes a little hook on it. This'll do. And he moves over to the hatch and kind of looks through the little cracks and eyes where he's gonna slide it down in there.
And as you're doing that, Esmond will kind of stand near you and produce a light source, a dim light source, but enough for you to be like have a clear line of sight in between the door and the frame to try and give you a better idea of what you're doing.
Peach
The
leans
Rhea
in.
will offer you guidance.
Peach leans in and says, "And I believe in you personally, as a friend." And you go to Bardic Inspiration.
Casey
This
pauses
is why we're a good team.
and looks up at all of you, and you guys are the best. Slides the little thing down it.
Please give them triple advantage because we're all helping.
And then I get what is it, a D6 for Bardic Inspiration?
Yes.
What's your total?
And a
You
D4.
did get it. I think you get advantage because Esmond's trying to help you.
Lovely.
And you get a D4 from Araya.
Yeah, I have the guidance on there already. That's the +3.
Cool.
But I'll roll that D20 again. Because you guys are the best.
Keep that first one.
Yeah, keep the first. It's a 19 total, Chris.
No, it's a 21 total.
Yeah, 21.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, you're totally right. 21.
Yeah. So you work the pick down in there. You're able to. You realize basically the notch the bar is through. That little piece is loose. You're able to pry it and work it, and so one side of the thing that holds the bar kind of falls down. Now you do hear a clattering sound of something dropping like down some stairs, but you realize you've unlocked it.
I think I got it.
Okay. Open it real slow, like.
Yeah. He grabs onto it and
Peach ducks behind Sal.
pulls up on the hatch.
Pull it open. It lets go and creaks its way open. There's this musty smell down below. You can see the bar that fell is like lying at the bottom of the narrow stairway that goes down there.
How many are down there, Jordan?
Should be about a dozen people.
Okay. Everyone just hold for a minute, and Esmond is going to blink into Zephyrus and send him down to just do a quick scout of the area, looking through Zephyrus's eyes.
Is it dark down there?
Roll perception check, actually. Scent-based.
All of us?
Anyone who's near the entrance.
If you knows, you knows.
Man, I'm rolling so low. That's a dirty 20 from me.
I guess I'm near the entrance too.
Sal was keeping an eye on the door that came in through while this was happening, instead of watching the trapdoor.
I was just right behind Casey, so.
Sounds good.
But
yeah,
I'm
Esmond.
terrible at this.
Esmond, you smell just a hint, like a hint of smoke. Candle smoke.
You guys smell that?
No.
Candle smoke.
Yeah, it's like that smell when someone just recently extinguished a candle.
Oh, maybe.
Jordan, what's the name of it? Who's in charge down there?
Oh, Castrid or Rumley. They've been taking care of everybody.
Esmond's going to like a hushed yell down the stairs. Excuse me, Rumley. We're here with Jorn. We're looking to find his group. Are you all down there still?
Now, with the door open, you hear like hushed whispering, like the sound of somebody arguing down there. You can't quite make out what they're saying.
Peach would pipe in. We're working with a verdict. Anyone need help?
You hear a voice call out. Who's there? Who are you?
We're here representing a verdict. We're from Shep's End. We're sort of an ersatz rescue operation. We're here because we ran into two folks just at the edge of town. And Peach would say their names, which she remembers perfectly.
You hear a little bit more arguing on there, and then you hear a woman's voice say, "They're here to rescue us!" And you see a halfling woman come stumbling into into the bottom of the stairs. And she's looking up at you with wide eyes. You come here to save us!
We come to evacuate you. Evacuate you. Quiet.
Yes, we're here. We're here to help. We're to try and help. But we have to be quiet about it.
Okay. We'll you get us out of here.
First, tell us what you're dealing with down here. Is anybody hurt or injured?
Yeah, and then after a moment, like an elderly Earth Genasi kind of joins her, looking up at you suspiciously. He's kind of gray and kind of crumbly. He's, don't be so quick to trust them.
You hear Casey speak in Ignan. Kind of a low grumble comes out from him and says, "My name is Orthocles Feldspar Calcio. We're here to rescue you." And he's looking at the Earth Genasi, who should understand it.
He seems to kind of narrows his eyes a little bit, and they widen some. He says,
We can go ahead and roll persuasion too if you would like.
you don't need to yet.
That's only if it's in question what's gonna happen. We got this.
Yeah, I tend to do it when I'm not sure what the effect should be, right? Where I'm just like, how would they do? Yeah, you see the halfling. She urgently gestures. Oh, come down, then. Come down.
How many folks are down there?
There's a bit more than 10 of us.
Okay, let's all.
Dives.
Esmond will motion for Jorn to go before him, and Esmond actually wants to be the last person to go down so that he has an opportunity to screw the bar that the handle was lodged on. He wants to screw that back into the wall and reset the bar to lock the door again.
Peach would be nearest the front as she's been talking.
Yeah, Casey would hang back and probably just before Ez and kind of smile at him, put a hand on his shoulder, and says, "If you start with your name, then they'll, know who you are." Good job, though.
Yeah, no, sure, great. Go. I'm gonna lock us back up real fast.
Yeah.
Jorn makes his way down. The halfling woman kind of like pulls him down, like touches his cheek. Are you okay? Oh, we thought you might be dead. Go on. Where are the others? And then the elderly, the Earth Genasi, kind of squints at each of you, and he looks as you make your way down, almost as though he's expecting more people. And he says, "Where's the verdict? Where are the soldiers?"
This is a rescue operation, all right? We are here doing stealth, not a blitzkrieg. We're here to get you out and to relative safety because the things attacking your town are everywhere in the countryside. We came from Shep's End, where we were able to save our town from the monsters plaguing it. And we got as far as we got because we're working with a verdict named Vethedrin. He's currently recovering. Right? We had a battle last night. We defeated 3 of these zombified horrors. And Vethedrin's recovered from that with our medical officer, Ava Porter. She's a doctor. Anybody who needs help medically, we get you back to our base, and Ava will see you over. You'll be able to ask Vethedrin any questions you might need. And, well, we're not here to fight. We're here to save you.
Porter? Surely you mean Peso Porter?
No. This is
Ava
Delta.
Porter.
Ava. That child.
Technically, we're all adults as our naming day passed fairly recently. Ava included.
And she's had more training than anybody else.
This is all of you.
No, we've got a few back at the base.
This is all there needs to be.
What is the situation above in your town?
Our town is secure, thanks to us.
It was a hard fight, but we defeated the creatures in it and we secured it. We would never have left it if it wasn't safe behind.
And our temple is safe too.
You
We've
see some
even-
You see some townsfolk starting to peek out from the back tunnel where it seems like kind of they were hidden.
Look, we've even got folks growing crops again. We're not thriving. It isn't the ship saying it was, even last year, but we're surviving. And folks are waking up, and they're not waking up afraid. They're not waking up in their own basements. They're able to go about their lives.
You see the halfling woman says, you see, they've got a place that's safe. And Rumsley kind of... Certainly you've not brought enough people to rid us of the horrors here.
I mean, are you guys planning on helping?
It's not a battle to be won.
Not with that attitude.
It's next on the priority list. We came here to try and evacuate all of you first before we tackle that particular subject.
If there are folks of you who want to help us when we return to retake the town, as we will, then you're more than welcome to. But right now we're here to save you, like I've said.
You can deliver these people from this town into safety.
But that is the idea.
We're not going to promise it because who knows? But we're your best chance.
Jossie kind of glances at each of you and glances at the others and says, well, very well then, I suppose we owe you some thanks.
Now we're getting somewhere. What sort of weapons do you guys have?
There isn't much here. There have been attempts to reach the smithy, but it has been too dangerous.
Then take what you got, and we'll lead you out. Low and fast, yeah? Quiet and quick.
Let's first get down on all the folks who are here. Anybody's got trouble moving, right? Anybody very young, very old?
I am a physical, miss. These people are in good health.
Has anyone been attacked, scratched, or bitten by any of the undead creatures above?
As has happened. The illness upon them is within my means to cure. So long as they are still living.
Do you know of any other pockets of folks hiding in different locations in the town?
I suspect there are many in such a town as Merewood, but it's too dangerous to travel far. The others, the dozen or so who left here. And Jorn kind of cheers it up a little bit. Where are they? They are with you? Jorn says, we was attacked on the road, and it's just me involved now. Rumsley, Polish boy should not have left.
It's a sight better than starving in this basement. Don't you agree?
If they hadn't have left, taking that risk, they never would have found us, and you all would starve to death 3 weeks from now. They're braver than any of you.
What's more important is that they're safe, and we want to take you all to safety. And then we can come back and find any other remaining villagers. We have to tackle this town a piece at a time. It's too large for just one go.
Yes. I suppose no changing what has been done. We will go with you.
Okay. if you'll have everyone gather their belongings and any potential weapons for self-defense, we don't intend to run any trouble, but never know. If you'll grant me a few minutes to see if I can just run a scout through my familiar here, I'll see if I can plan out the safest route for us to exit out of town.
The halfling woman kind of turns to the other. She says, "Okay, gather all of your things. Take only enough that you can carry, and we will likely not be coming back here anytime soon. Move quietly, but very quickly, and make sure that you have your shoes."
Esmond is going to try and plan out a quick and safe route out of town by zapping into Zephyrus's eyes, letting him outside and just zipping through alleyways and trying to keep count of undead and memorizing the safest route that avoids the most number of undead if possible.
Okay. Yeah, Zephyrus goes streaking about. Roll a stealth check for Zephyrus.
Just double checking if he has advantage on stealth or not. I don't think so.
He's so small. Everyone else should have disadvantage on percepting him.
No, it's disadvantage against him. Disadvantage attacks against him, but not on stealth. Okay, great.
Their eyes are attacking him with their sight.
Ooh. Here's what I will do, actually. Before I send him off, just to prompt him and make him feel comfortable, I'm going to pull out a small bottle of sugared water. Let him get a couple tonguefuls of that. Zap's alive and send him off. I'm going to zoop into his mind, and then I'm going to use the Got Any More ability, which gives him advantage on his next check when he's all sugared up.
Okay, that's good. Go.
That'll be a 15.
Yeah, so Zephyrus goes zipping about across the rooftops. You do see that main intersection that you guys had passed through. There's a handful of the undead sort of lumbering through and meandering in that area now after you guys have passed through. And you realize, you better veer off to the north to make a better route to get out.
Okay, I'll have Zephyrus return and zap back to my shell and relay that to everybody else. Entrance that we came through is potentially dangerous. More undead there than before. We're gonna have to reroute north.
Should we go in smaller groups? Or all of us all at once?
Either way, my concern is that with a much larger group of people, it's going to be more difficult to remain stealthy. So regardless of whether or not we're split into smaller groups, our chances are reduced of sneaking successfully again.
Might as well stay together, because if one group gets compromised, we're gonna have to come together again anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need our goal is to make sure that they all make it out of here safely.
Yeah,
I agree. Protection in numbers too. Who knows which of them might, be good enough fight if a fight were to break out. They did survive this long.
Yeah.
How long have you guys been down here? He says to the little halfling.
We've been method of keeping track of the days. Perhaps not entirely accurate, but my estimate would be it has been 6 months of time.
I'm sorry, did you say 6? Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah, I do believe so.
If we do wind up being found out, I can lay down some cover for us by producing a giant a fog cloud to reduce visibility, or laying down a thick webbing that would halt anything that tries to cross through it. Essentially, that could be used in front of us or behind us. So wherever you all want me in the lineup, that would be what I bring to this.
6 months. You guys are stronger than I gave you credit for. We're getting out of here. All of you.
Hope on the faces of all the people.
Well,
Okay, let's determine how we want to do this. I imagine we want the cluster of civilians between us split into two smaller parties, so 2 of us in the front, 3 in the back, or vice versa. I am comfortable being in the front or the back, whichever.
We know that. Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know where y'all want to be in this.
I'm gonna take up the rear if anyone needs help, if anybody falls behind, if anyone needs some special protection, I'd want it to be in front of me.
Same. The only thing I can do is occupy him while everybody else runs. So it'd be better if I was at the rear.
As because you have Zeph, you should go up front just to check around the corner, right?
Casey, you can fight from a distance, so maybe you ought to be up front too.
yeah. I'll be with you guys.
Peach, dealer's choice.
I'll fill out the middle and wherever anybody else needs help.
Actually, that might not be. Maybe Peach, you could be within the cluster of the civilians, and that way you'd be equally between the 2 groups, and you would also be able to provide additional support to anybody that none of us were able to get to the civilians in time.
Sounds like a play. Out of character, are we doing this combat tonight?
I just scrolled all the way down. Guess who has silence?
What are you talking about,
Well, no, but
combat?
silence doesn't work quite like that, does it?
Sorry.
It's not even sure that there'll be combat. Depends
We're sneaking out of here.
We're sneaking at. We're also
I
good at
just-
stealth.
I just have a hard out at 11 because I need to get some sleep before the people come to with the moving trucks at 8 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, it's totally fine. Yeah, we can stop 11.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Well, if we run into anything where they need to not hear us, it might help us.
Mm-hmm.
As if you give me a
So, I'm gonna do a little something here. Casey kind of slaps his hands together and starts to do a little rumbling Ignan word that rumbles out, and I think, how many people can I do? Peach, Rhea, the halfling, the nice halfling.
What's her name? What's your name? Peach would ask.
My name is Castrid. I'm a teacher here in Mirwood.
Yeah, so the three of them kind of feel this rumble come up their legs and into their head, and it slowly fades out, and then Casey looks at each other and says, without moving his mouth, so we can talk this way without making noise. Coordinate a bit, yeah.
Sorry, Castrid and who else?
Peach, Araya, and the halfling.
Oh my word.
I'm gonna count on you to move people when we need it, yeah? Looking at the halfling, he says that.
Of course.
Okay. If everyone's ready, let's get out of here.
So you guys begin to, you unbar the trapdoor, begin to move your way up into the tavern as quiet as you can. If I understand correctly, Esmond's in the front, is that right?
Esmond and Casey are in the front, Peach is in the middle with the civilians, and then Sal and Araya will be taking up the rear.
Alright, sounds good. You move out to the front of the tavern, peeking out into the streets. Casey and Esmond, let me please roll perception and stealth.
I'm going to spend a spark. I'm going to attempt to re-roll that stealth.
Okay. New roll 14.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you spot the creatures lumbering through the streets. You wait a moment. Passes farther down into the fog. You see an opening. Begin to make your way out across through the alleyway, curving your way up to the north. After a few moments, all the people in front of you, Ray and Salinger, have moved their way, following a small train of survivors. Even just the two of you there in the doorway.
We can help these people.
Araya hears her head. Try to keep up, yeah.
I'm not the slow one. Okay, compared to yes, I am the slow one, but I mean, you know what I mean. You gotta warn me next time you do this. It always gives me the chills. I think there's like an earthquake.
You don't have to whisper, it's in my head, like no one can hear it.
No, but I mean, I think if the other halfling hears
Didn't say
me,
anything.
there's confidence in me.
No. Let's stay focused.
Yes.
Okay, sounds good.
The fog is both comforting and terrifying.
Best things are. Alright. Casey nods to Esmond.
Okay, Araya and Salinger, please roll perception and stealth. So you tell the group.
She is a little oblivious. I'm so sorry.
And I'm a little loud. Obviously I have to not do that. So I'll use a threat.
Okay.
And roll another one, probably. Let's see.
No, whoever heard of rolling 2 natural ones in a row? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I seen it.
It's unheard of. It's impossible.
Ooh, much better.
She disappears from view.
You like almost stub your you stub your toe actually, but instead of like cursing.
Perfectly pirouettes. And then just tiptoes down the stairs silently.
And, Araya and Salinger move their way across the alleyway, vanishing into the fog, leaving the tavern behind. Peach, as you guys are moving, you're in the middle, moving with the pack. You see that as you begin to cross one of the intersections, as you guys have curved up to the north, you see one of the people in the middle of the group as they kind of get kind of to the middle of the road. They freeze. Their eyes widen. They're looking north. You can barely make out a silhouette in the fog, slowly shambling your way. It's not there yet, but this person is frozen in the road, and if they stay here, they're going to be seen.
Peach would reach out and grab the civilian by the hand and just quickly pull them along, like shh, quietly, and fast as you can. Come on.
Alright, roll persuasion. And 15 plus 1 for a total of 16. Yeah, you see
I think I'm gonna re-roll that.
Okay, give it a roll.
That's much better.
Yep,
A
you
little bit of
see,
spice.
just as whatever that is on the northern side begins to make its way from the fog, you grab their hand, you whisper to them, and they kind of blink out of it and move along with you. After another moment, the groups kind of pass through that alleyway. As you begin to, Esmond and Casey, as you're approaching the eastern exit, kind of to the town, you can see two of the creatures, the townsfolk, dead, and shambling slowly kind of through the path ahead of you that you need to make it by. And they're meandering there, sort of in that area. They don't seem to be moving on.
Are we far enough where we can safely whisper to each other?
Yeah, you can just barely make them out ahead of you as long as you're particularly quiet.
How far ahead of us are they again?
Probably 50 feet.
Casey kind of nods to Esmond.
We might be able to lure them away. Just let's try that first, and then yeah, probably that. Shit.
Casey pulls out the wand that you've seen him shoot bright lights and loud noises out of.
No, wait. Just hold that thought. Maybe. Hold that thought. Esmond is actually... Jesus Christ. I keep having to do this. On the opposite side of where the two undead creatures are. What... The undead creatures, are they blocking our exit? Or are they just in our way in the alley?
They seem to be maybe unintentionally blocking your exit. Like, they don't seem to be guarding it. They just seem to be there.
Okay, is it, and presumably there is another alley on the opposite side of the road, from us on the other side of that entrance, right?
Well, you're right at the edge of town now, so this is kind of where you'd be passing like through like a low wooden wall. Like, you guys would probably have an easy time climbing it and stuff like that if you really needed to, but probably a lot of the townsfolk would have trouble with it.
Is there any debris or like loose what's the word, like loose tools, buckets, whatever, like lying about, further closer to them but further away from us, that if we were to knock them over, the sounds would
There's a
pull
rain
their-
barrel.
There's a what?
Like a rain barrel?
It's probably full. Shit. Is there anything that can be dropped into it? Anything loose?
I mean, there's all kinds of like little loose stones and shingles and stuff like that if you needed something.
I'm going to instruct Zephyrus to fly over to a roof above that rain barrel and to try and knock a loose shingle into it.
Okay. Yeah, Zephyrus goes flying off that, right? Roll strength. Roll an athletics check for Zephyrus.
I don't think I have athletics. What? No, I. Okay. What is athletics? Is that
Strength.
Dex?
Just wing it.
Ooh, cool. Sure. It's just gonna be a straight roll. Five minus what is that? 4? 5 minus 4.
Zephyrus is just trying so hard, this little hummingbird body, to loosen this shingle. You just see him struggling. Not happening.
Araya hears in her head. Araya, we might need you up here.
Absolutely. Do you want Sal instead? Or
No, we just need your silence.
absolutely. Yeah, okay.
She'll weave her up to the front.
What do you see?
So are they? If I
In my mind, if I silence the area around them, is it possible that we can sneak past them? Or would they notice us as we pass by, visually noticing us?
The silence is so that no one else hears them hit the ground when I kill them.
Oh! Okay. Wait, you cannot cast a spell within silence.
Not a problem.
Really?
Do you know who you're talking to?
I mean, yes. Okay, I trust you.
may I cast silence on that area? I'm gonna cast it like that they're on the edge of the sphere, the circle, so that if there's anything maybe perhaps around the corner at the lip or the edge of the alleyway, that I can also catch that within my little silence bubble.
Sorry, ask that one more time. I'm not quite sure I understand.
It has an area of effect. I want them to be on the edge of the nearest of the area of effect that it can go beyond, just in case there's something maybe around the edge of the. I don't know the geography, but in case there's something around the corner, I want it also to be caught within the circle that silence covers.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
It's a 20-foot radius sphere, centered on a point within range.
Yes, yeah, you can do that.
Okay.
She concentrates for a moment, murmuring, making hand motions, prayer devotion. And just gently flings her hand out towards the undead creatures.
Okay. And you see the air ripple just a bit.
I do have to concentrate.
Casey, stands there for a moment and lifts his hand up as if he's gonna snap his fingers like normal. But he doesn't. He just pauses for a moment. And then the ball of energy just erupts into his hand without him saying or doing anything. As he uses subtle spell.
Nice. All right.
First time he's done this.
Nothing subtle about Casey before.
And yeah, the ball of energy in his hand is kind of wild and unfocused. It is a ball of chaos that he then just throws out into the darkness. And as it enters the silence, it's just nothing. Having not moved, he's also gonna gain advantage on this, I think.
Quick roll. And you guys are currently unnoticed, so you have surprise, so you have advantage from that as well.
Plus advantage. Yeah, and I think I'll probably use at least a sneak attack die if it's. So 25 to hit.
25 definitely hits.
It is. One sec. Yeah, this ball of energy comes flying out. And as it enters the area of silence, it takes on kind of a strange form, something that's not any of the elements that Casey normally uses. And as it strikes the creature, it is psychic damage. And it will be 19 points of psychic damage. And I did roll 2 7s on my damage, which will proc the chaos to jump to the zombie next to it.
On that first hit, as it hits the undead townsfolk, the creature staggers and its head snaps back, but you learn that these creatures are resistant to psychic damage, and it is not dead on the first blow.
Yeah, so this, when it jumps to the second creature, am I still advantaged from being hidden for that? Or is it
Oh, for
aware
the
now?
proc?
Yeah, the creature is still unaware during this attack all happening at the same time, so
Okay.
yeah, advantaged.
So this bolt that jumps to the second creature, and the energy is still chaotic and roiling. And I'll use sneak attack on him as well if it's. It's a 16 to hit.
16 hits.
And it is flies over, and this time it's a green viscous acid that splashes onto the creature for 16 points of acid damage.
Alright, tell me a story on that second creature.
Yeah, first zombie's head kind of snacks back and the energy jumps over. Completely silent as you see these creatures move and convulse, and the acid hits him and kind of melts down as he takes one step forward and slumps down to the ground. Casey looks at the other two and prepares to do something to finish off that first zombie, but yeah.
And when you see the first one, it tracks as those bolts of magic fly in. Its head turns towards where you are. You see it points a finger, and it opens its mouth. You can see its chest heave as though it's screaming, but no sound comes out.
If no one else does, Casey goes to finish it.
I will. Since we're outside of the site. Quiet.
Yeah. Casey pulls a dagger out of the air and slings it at him. If no one's doing it.
I have to look through my most quiet spells.
I assumed I was on the other side of the crowd and I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, you're like in the back. This is happening in the front.
Because Casey is quieter, Esmond is waiting for this knife strike to hit and will determine what to do based on how that goes.
Yeah, he's going to be advantage again because he's not moving. And I'll use sneak attack. It's a 16 to hit.
16 hits. And you can see the creature is lumbering forward, and after this attack, it'll be outside of the silence.
Yeah, it's going to take... 1 second. We use 2 sneak attack. So it's going to take 11 points of psychic damage.
Still resistant to psychic damage, and yet just enough. Tell me a story.
Yeah. The creature's staring forward in case he kind of glances at the other two next to him. And then just reaches into the air and pulls a dagger out of the nothing. And it's kind of crackling with the same energy as the first bolt that hit the zombie. And he looks at it and kind of tilts his head and flips it around, knife in hand, and flies into the silence and hits with no noise as the zombie falls back into silence.
Done. Salinger at the back, because the group's had to stop. You see shambling around the corner, emerging from the mist, single one of the undead townsfolk, and just comes around the corner. You're almost face to face together. You see it cocks its head, starts to open its mouth. You get one turn.
Better make it count then. Okay. So I was going to swing the spear like a staff, using his bonus action to... I'm trying to think of how to do the most damage quickly. It's not really his thing. using Mythic Burst. Just not using the full movement. Just kind of step to the side to take a hard swing. See if I can hit him. $16 hit.
Does hit.
Okay, so it's doing 6 plus 2 is 8 plus a d8 for Mythic Burst. Plus 2 for the dueling fighting style is 6, 12, 14, 16 total.
16 damage? Tell me a story,
And
Sal.
oh, okay, cool. Whew. All right. Surprised, Sal quickly turns his head instinctively. This kind of ethereal, smoked silhouette outlines push him just slightly to the right, and his arm comes down with like a shadow of them, cracking through the thing's collarbone, and it crushes along the center, a few ribs popping out of the side. And as it slumps to start to fall and hit the ground, he tries to grab its arm with his offhand to lower it.
You catch it as it's falling. Lower it down to the ground. You see one of the townsfolk looking back at you with wide eyes. And one of them living townsfolk.
He exhales and then turns over his shoulder with a big confident smile.
Alright. With that, the danger to the front and the rear eliminated, you sneak your way out of the eastern exit of Muirwood. This gently falling snow. You've rescued the people of the tavern.
Oh man.
That's so satisfying.
Highly
Got
nerve
dice.
wracking.
Yeah, I thought one of us was going to be a point or two just shy, and then the horde comes.
Yeah.
It was literally Casey with psychic damage killed it with exactly how many hit points it had.
I might have slightly forgot that my knives were also psychic damage. Might have chose a different spell if I had remembered that.
I had a spell to back you up. It would have cleaned up, but
If I
I know
had
you
to,
had it.
Poppy could have. Yeah, Poppy could have also react bursted if we needed like exactly one more point.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's only with weapon strikes. I could not have helped you. Never mind.
I mean,
Yeah, and so before too long, you guys have fled out into the eastern part of the town. You're kind of in the hills now, surrounded by trees and cover. The townspeople are breathing heavily. You can see that the physiker, Rumley, moving a little slower than the rest, elderly as he is. He says, I cannot move so quickly on these hills. His knees, I've seen the years.
We
If
just
there's
need to.
anything I can do to lighten your burden, I'm happy to help carry.
Thank you, but I just need to rest a moment, at least.
are we far enough away from town that it's not terribly unsafe?
Well, anywhere is going to be slightly dangerous, but you're away from the immediate portion of town.
We kind of need to keep moving.
Peach cuts eyes at Sal.
If it wouldn't be too much of an indignity, sir, I could carry you.
Absolutely not.
I could float you, and we could tie a rope to you.
Like a balloon.
That's probably slightly less dignified.
Well, it's also more magical.
It'll give you an hour to rest your knees, sir. It really isn't a big deal.
By the Queen, simply have some patience.
We kind of don't have time for patience, unfortunately. I apologize, sir. We're in a rush.
Fine. I'll keep moving if I must.
Sneak on.
I'm so sorry, sir. I do understand. We we got to get back and rescue more folks. I'm sure you understand.
As he's fallen back, which I'm assuming he is because he's moving slower than other people, Sal will discreetly at least let me offer you an arm.
Fine, that is acceptable.
Not yet.
in
If I had to
mind-
knock him out, I would. Not yet.
To Casey, it's like, it's a good thing at least one of us is polite. I didn't know how to handle that.
I don't know what the fuss is about. Sal carries me all the time.
Also, the missed opportunity to be floated through a forest. Can Ez float me?
We should keep moving.
Oh, yes, of course.
Let me have you each roll a perception check, if you will.
Swear
Roll
you
for me.
guys bit.
Oh,
Everybody gets a natural 20 tonight.
Yeah, no, Esmond's, I think, natural 20 I'll definitely do there. As you guys are moving up the hills that sort of wind their way east, kind of give a vantage point across Muirwood. Esmond, there's a moment as you are glancing back across the town, looking out for danger, that you see some movement sort of at the town square. And you see, just looks for a moment, you just think you're seeing some shifting fog. Then you realize what you're seeing is the lumbering movement of the very top of the creature that Vithedrian had described. You see white, like bands of chitinous plating along its back, gray, dull, matted stone. It's easily, it's taller than some of the rooftops. And so you'd have to guess 15 feet, 20 feet in height. Just a bit longer. It's just a stocky, heavy, lumbering creature. You can tell by the way that it moves. It's thick and joint, and its armor is segmented in long plates that horizontal sort of across its body. And I think with that natural 20, you can see that there are some portions of decay along its side and what seems to be carving in the plates of armor itself.
With that natural 20, the carving in the plates of armor, does it appear to be the same runic carving that was carved into the arms of the giants that we fought recently?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Are you fucking serious?
Okay, so Gulliver's Travels.
Esmond just stops in his tracks. He just full stops at his tracks, and you all just see him staring down at the town square.
My perception is so low.
It's the thing that Vithedrian described, but it's, guys, I think it's I think it's been infected by the necromancer. It's got those same runic carvings as the giants we fought.
You said infected. You mean it existed beforehand and then was taken over? Or did the necromancer make it?
I don't know. Vithedrian didn't describe runic carvings in the side of it, but I also don't know if he had time to really perceive that in his escape.
Of course you didn't. Casey kind of looks at the town, and he may not actually see it, but yeah, it's big. Then you can see it from here.
It's we should get moving. We need to report this to everyone else.
We're gonna need some more dynamite.
We're gonna need a lot of dynamite.
For a while longer, you've moved farther into the east, clear of the town now. But after quite a bit of travel, even slowing down a bit, the day is starting to get late. You can tell all the townspeople, they're not used to this sort of journey. They're very tired. The old man slowed down a lot, along with some of the others as well. You don't have much choice other than to try to find a place to make camp.
Anything with at least one side protected. What do you see, Sal?
What do I see?
Like a good place to set up camp?
Could I maybe make a survival check to determine
Yeah.
if there's a spot nearby?
Absolutely, yeah. You can roll survival to look for a good place to make camp.
Not Araya remembering Sal's a ranger.
Araya just being like, normally I just sort of like flop over on the side of the road.
Araya, like,
Look
if
for an
only
advantage.
there was someone who could roll this roll.
I love an
did you
advantage
roll
rolls the exact same thing
identity?
twice. I just love symmetry.
Yeah.
It's like
so
this
you're
place
able,
is as good as the next.
looking, yeah, nothing really stands out as particularly advantageous place to set up camp, but there is at least, there's a rocky outcropping that offers a place that's dry, at least won't be sunk into the snow.
Well, pretty much everywhere around us is awful, but that place will give us less mud butt, so we could sit over there.
We should get most of the villagers in the middle, and then surround them, right? And then we'll set up watch, and I can go first. And yeah.
Mm-hmm. We made it out, and every single one of them made it with us.
Don't
When-
so there's a tree right there, and you should probably knock on that tree. It's just a small ritual not to jinx our good fortune.
Why would he knock
You
on
are
the
so
tree?
superstitious.
She knocks on a tree for you.
It's not superstition if it works. Please knock on the tree, Sal.
If it makes you feel better.
It does,
Wax
actually. Thank you.
It's not superstition, it's regular stition. Thank you.
Yeah, it's ritual. It obviously has worked for millennia as it's been passed down, and you of all people should respect a lot of the things that come from the folks before us.
Yeah, who are you to say anything about knocking on wood? Like, all of us can do magic.
Yeah, it's natural magic that anyone can perform.
Like, Araya tells me knock on wood, I'm gonna knock on wood every day. Apparently, she's known this maiden thing for ages.
Yes.
So I've never seen anyone cast a spell by knocking on wood, but if that's what works for you,
Some of
that's
those
totally fine.
components are actually a bit of wood. It is a fragment of the former ritual. Just
It is
sort of
completely
simplified.
understandable that you're nervous.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm glad this is reassuring.
I'm not trying to knock it.
Casey, I'm going to make you knock on wood next, except with your head.
You
Ooh.
would.
Wood. This wood. This one.
Don't listen to him, Sal. You spruce up nice.
You do, actually. Why do you still look this nice after we've been tromping through absolute wilderness for days?
Sal always looks nice.
I know, but is there a secret? My robes look bedraggled.
The secret is
Look how much
caring for
mud.
one's fur.
Oh,
That was another type of tree. I was just trying to play along.
Casey looks at all the townspeople that are no doubt watching them.
What
Yeah.
I'm saying is he does it with style.
Everything's fine. Everyone.
Well, I'm gonna watch first, and you all get some rest. I think they heard a wolf.
I would welcome a wolf
You
compared
thought
to
that
killing
was a coyote in my yard.
This nighttime track is just full of.
You know,
Else
it's
is
a,
out there.
hawks. some
Sal.
crows.
Is it a good sign when the wolf howls or when the wolf stops howling?
It's the stopping that is more dangerous.
Okay. Comfortable creatures in the wilderness.
I think I hear a pack of hyenas.
No, that's just us laughing in your head.
Esmond is sitting near the campfire with however many civilians are around, and he's being more reserved than usual, keeping quiet to himself. But you see him performing a cantrip, and through the cantrip, in the campfire that they have, rough shapes of our group are manifesting, and you can see those shapes like performing actions and fighting creatures and stuff, like very similar to the shadow plays that Casey puts on, but made from the actual fire. He's just doing that nonchalantly as civilians look on.
Yeah, you see the huddled townsfolk staying near the fire because they don't have as thick clothing as some of you. You see them like in curiosity, and then they're watching what's going on in the fire. It's a lot of wonder.
Casey walks up to Esmond and is smiling, looking at the fireplace. And then he says in Ignan to him, "Do without talking."
Esmond looks up to you, and you see he doesn't have his wand out, and he just kind of flips his hand, and the performers in the fire begin more arduous actions, but he doesn't say anything as he looks at you and does that.
Casey will join in, more people in the battle.
I'm happy to let one of them use my my sleeping sack. Could fit probably 2 kids in one.
Yeah, Castrid, warming her hands by the fire, kind of looks to you guys and says, thank you so much for what you did to help us. As we were leaving, I didn't realize how bad it would be, and thank you so much.
Of course, it's what we do. It's what we do. I mean, this is the second time we've saved in what, as many weeks?
We really couldn't have done it without you. You all did great. Just a little bit farther tomorrow, yeah.
And Rumley says, now that we're at least seems to be a bit safer, I want to better understand what you know about what has happened.
That's more Ez's area of expertise.
Yes.
Well, he might overcomplicate it. Yeah, maybe let's go. Go ahead.
He's not paying attention. He's just playing with the fire still.
Oh, maybe you, Sal.
All right. So what we know has occurred is that at least in 3 places we're aware of, based on what Vithedri and the verdict told us, that monsters attacked cities, towns, including our little town of Shepherd's End. And you said you'd been down there for 6 months, and that tracks with it all happened around the same time. We've discovered at least 3 different tears, rips or portals that things have come through, ranging from much more vicious versions of my good girl here, Poppy, to giant, monstrous sea creatures, to what appears to be pathways to whole other places, like a desert behind a wall and a temple. The reason Esmond asked the question he did while he is currently distracted was because he thought that maybe, he's probably right, something like that happened near you, and that might be where this undead scourge came from. Beyond that, we don't know why it's occurring, where it started, or who or what's to blame.
Seems as though you know more than I do, but I know a piece of something, perhaps, that you do not. Of course, being a physical, I was the one who was called when the occurrence happened. And, it was said that a man who had passed away of injury, not long before, was risen from death itself by a stranger come to the town. And I was sent to investigate this. I had seen, in fact, the man had been dead, was living again. And when consulting with the mayor of the town, we had sent for a verdict to come. It was I can only imagine somehow this was the origin of what's happened in Muirwood. But the beast, I had seen it when it had attacked. It just does not seem to be a thing of... It does not seem to be the same as the creatures that lumber in the streets. It was a beast, certainly living.
Well, parts of that track with our experience.
Casey kind of looks down at Ez and I mean, you said the beast wasn't the same as those in the streets. It wasn't rotting like the people.
Is Casey talking to Ez or talking to Rumley?
Rumley. But he kind of looked to Ez before interjecting.
Yes. I had seen when the creature attacked, trampling buildings, stomping men beneath its enormous feet. And now I saw it clearly. It was a wild animal.
That's right.
Ferocious.
Jordan, you were saying it was killing the undead as well, didn't you?
Yeah, Jordan looks over. He says, well, I mean, that was, it was a couple of months later. after we first attacked, I was out trying to get supplies, sneaking, trying to see if I could find something that would help us. I had seen some of the dead. They were moving towards the town square, and it was a ferocious thing. It smashed them up. But that was months ago. I think when I saw that, it was had to have been maybe a month after everything had happened.
Sounds
Yeah.
like the thing must have been bitter scratched by those undead.
Rumley says, well, before the incident in the northern village, there had been nothing so large of an occurrence, aside from much smaller, foreboding events, such as rats that seemed to have been diseased and living, crawling when they should be dead. Farm animals showing similar signs. But it was not until the man was risen from his grave itself. Shortly before he was, metaphorically from the grave, he was meant to be buried the next day, and then he was sitting up and alive and talking.
Talking?
Yes.
So he hadn't seemed changed at all?
No, he was as a man living, but there were many witnesses who had seen him, that had seen the accident, and that he was dead, that he was very clearly dead. I was not the physician who examined him, but I had read the reports. Yes, certainly.
Who was
Sounds
he
like-
in your town?
He was no one of importance within the hierarchy of Merewood itself, but a denizen of the northern village for all his life. A married man with children.
Sounds like someone upgraded from rats and farm animals.
But none of the undead we've seen were still themselves.
No, this was perhaps a precursor to something more insidious. This man appeared to be a living man, but clearly foul magic had risen him.
Well, no, but had he become something monstrous later, or you just saw him alive and then you don't know what happened to him? I feel there's a distinction.
Well, perhaps. No, I did not see him in any monstrous state as the things lumbering in the streets. But,
Yeah.
no, he was aware of himself and his life. But, as you know, such things are irreproachable.
Right. I just have, they don't teach us what is necromancy or anything like that. So we're learning a lot of why it's so perverse now.
Well, I think the dangers are quite evident.
Very much so. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Yes.
Horrifying,
Well,
really.
from what I understood, the rats and the farm animals occurred at the earliest, 2 weeks before what happened in the northern village. It was a slow, insidious rise of such dark things.
What about earthquakes and strangely colored skies?
I think that's a universal experience.
Ever since what has happened in the north, ground has shook. But yes, it was a day when came a terrible thundering, like the horn, the great horn, and sky was changed. Many of the magics began to fail. The magic of the givers and the fabricators. Have you experienced the same? Or are things not so bad?
No, it's much
No,
the
it's
same.
identical.
I just think we got lucky with our with the problems we faced.
I see.
What about forge cults underneath the earth? Or giant sea creatures that control sharks?
No.
He's listing the things that happened near our town.
Really?
Jellies of fire and lightning. Acid.
I still find all of
This
those
is where we are
useful.
going.
Giant chickens that can rip a man clean in two.
Yeah, but we killed the
We've
chicken.
since stopped those things.
Yeah, no, we're taking you someplace safer.
Someplace that we made safe.
It is a wonder that you have survived so much.
You were more senior within the village. We didn't have anyone that could tell us how the war front or anything in the capital might have been. Even Vethedrian's knowledge was limited as all communication was shut down. But do you have any word from yours of the war front?
No, nothing. Since the attack upon the town, so many of us have been in hiding.
Right. It was worth a hope.
The teleportation platform in Muirwood ceased to function. Our sending magic no longer reached the intended recipients. We have not heard word from either the capital nor the army.
I'm glad you came with us because I don't think anyone's heard from the army. That just could be a distance thing, you know, they are really far north.
I'm admittedly crestfallen to realize that the kingdom has not sent aid. Perhaps we are too far to the east.
I think that every city is experiencing something horrible, and whether or not the citizens are capable of routing it varies from place to place.
Lucky for us, we don't need their aid.
Would be nice, though.
Yeah.
We'll get you back to our town, get you set up, get y'all safe, and maybe with Vethedrian's help, after we get you moving, we can figure out what the source of this was, and I don't know, re-dead it. It's the opposite of undeading things.
I see. Yes. Upon the morrow then, but perhaps just a bit less walking.
There's a cart. It'll be, yeah, there's a cart.
Very good. Well, retire then. My deepest gratitude to each of you.
We're not out of the
Thank you
woods yet.
That's true.
That was a pun, not dire. It was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I have grandchildren. I often engage in such. Well done, well done.
And she leaves the campfire to go stand guard. Ugh!
Everyone seems pleased ending on that.
Good. All right, well. That's what we'll call it.
Can't have Kevin.
Episode ends. Araya is extremely embarrassed. All of us are uncomfortable with the old men
Goddamn.
calling us grandchildren.
It's the super zoomed out shot of the campsite with Araya just right.
He was saying that he tells puns because he has grandchildren.
It's the smartest form of humor.
Good.
All right, folks. I really gotta hit the hay. Wish me luck.
Good luck.
Next time I talk to you all, I'll be a New Hampshirean.
Best of luck.
Yeah.
Sleep
The
well.
move goes well,
Good
yeah.
session.
Mhm.